Hi, it's Sue. Welcome back to my channel today. Hope you're well. I'm doing a bit of I goofed. I started a project and I was filming, but I don't know what I've done with that piece of film. I thought it was on my phone and it wasn't on there, and neither was it on my camcorder. So I've lost the first part. But the first part was basically explaining the measurements. I'm going to make this wallet. Actually that's the wrong way around. And it folds up like this. You open it up, it's got two top and a bottom flap, and I'm going to join those with the figure 8 string, and then it closes over like this. Okay. So the first part of my video was really explaining the measurements of this piece. And I used digital papers from Vibe Vintage. And what I did was I printed on both sides so that both the front and inside had images on them. And my piece of paper started at 10 1/4 this way. So this measurement here was 10 1/4 inches, and across this way was 8 1/4. Okay. And that gave me my centre, which was, what was it? Just 4 inches. And flaps of 2 inches on either side with a tiny gusset, just a little space, top, bottom and both sides of 1/8 of an inch. So to achieve that, what I did, I put it on my scoreboard, and from the top, that was along this way, I put the 10 1/4 inch length to the top of my scoreboard, and I scored at 2 inches and then at 2 1/8 of an inch, and then I flipped the paper round and I scored it again at 2 inches and 2 1/8. Okay, and then I flipped it to the 8 1/4 width across this way, and I scored again at 2 inches and 2 1/8, flipped it all the way around and scored again at 2 inches and 2 1/8, and then I folded on all the score lines. Okay. Then what I had to do was cut out 4 corners. So cutting out the 4 corners, you basically cut out 2 1/8 inch squares. Okay, so if you can see here, this measures 2 1/8 of an inch. Well, you probably can't see that close, that far away. But you're basically taking out the corners, and you're taking out the corners to give you a strip that really, if you fold it over, you'll have a 4 inch strip. On these, then, you have that 1/8 gusset here. And the same will apply on the top and bottom. You'd have your 1/8 of an inch gusset. So that's how I started. Cut out the corners, made sure that I'd creased each of these score lines really well, and then we were ready to go and ink around the edges. Okay, so I went and inked all around. So just quickly again, your piece of paper measures 10 1/4, and this way across here. So really in ours, that's top to bottom. And as I cut this from an A4 piece of paper, I had to do it so that, the longer piece, the 11 11 and a half or whatever it is, gave me my 10 and a quarter. And I had enough space this way for the 8 and a quarter. All right, so you, from your 10 and a quarter by 8 and a quarter, you score at 2 inches, 2 1/8, flip it, score at 2 inches and 2 1/8. And then on the other side, along the 8 and a quarter piece, you score at 2 inches, 2 1/8, flip it, 2 inches, 2 1/8 score. And then you take out the 4 corners, and the 4 corners you're taking from the edge into the middle score line, okay? Because that then gives you a total piece of 4 inches that way. And this way it will give you a piece of 6, I think. Just double check that. Yeah, 6 inches. So you end up with a pocket or a wallet that measures 4 by 6 in length. Hope that's clear. I'm sorry about that. We'll pick up the video from the inking. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so I've finished inking all the edges, just about. Did I miss that one? Looks like I might have. Again, we can freshen this up at the very end, but for now, just to, you know, get an idea of how it's going to look. There we go. Now, these sections here, these flaps, what I want to do is add some buttons, because I'm going to wrap, figure 8 wrap around these to hold whatever's down at the back here in. So that will be my next job. So first off, I'm going to glue. Where's my glue? Here it is. Glue my button to the backing. How good is that? It's stuck to my finger. All right, and these are the buttons. Now, let's have it going around the right way. And what I've done, I've just threaded some cotton, it's actually crochet cotton, through the button and tied it off in a knot. So I didn't think this was the folder for bows, so we've just knotted it. Oops, hot glue gun would work just as well here. And we'll pop that one on. Try and get it in the middle. Should be good. So now these need to go on here and here. So the middle of that is 2 inches, which is about there. It's that way around. So 2 inches. Sorry, am I in frame? I think I am just. It's about there. Close enough. Okay, flip that round. Let's do the other one. And that's about it. Okay, we'll leave that to dry before we add any more, add the twine. So now it closes like this. This will have the twine, and then here what I want to do is I've cut out this piece, which is also from the same paper design, backed it to book page, and I'm going to affix that onto the front left-hand cover. I'll just work out, what did I say that was, about 6, 2, 4, 6, yeah. So I want that about there. It would be good if we had the north and south facing in the right direction. Okay, more glue. Good amount of glue on there. The wind's blowing here. I don't know whether you can hear it. It's blowing a gale. There are waves on the river today, but at least the sun's shining and it's not raining, so we're quite pleased. 2, 2, 2. So yeah, we want that about there. Okay, so it'll go that, and that. Hi, I'm back. And I have to say, I did get a bit carried away with this. Got it upside down on my desk. I didn't film it all because I got to a certain point and turned the camera off to organise labels and so forth. And then I really just got stuck into it. Sorry. It would have been such a long video had I kept the camera on. Basically, what I decided was this wasn't long enough to sit underneath, allowing this to keep the folder closed. So I've changed it. I've added a button. It now becomes a floating pocket. Or can be attached to the front of the journal, whatever, and it closes like so. Oops. Okay, I've used buttons, so I've used the button here, and I've added lots of labels. I've stamped. As I say, I went berserk. I really got carried away with it. Loved it. There's a lot of stamping here. As well as the labels. And then when you open her up, inside I've added swing tag, more labels. This really is there to hold that in position. Stamping, I've added the button closures on these flaps, added more labels, bits and bobs. This is mostly, the labels are really Tracy Fox. The stamping generally is the Field Notes stamp set from Tim Holtz. And the basic papers, of course, and some of these are cutouts from Viber Vintage. There's a couple of bits here I think that was Viber Vintage. I've just trimmed that out. So yeah, this will open like so. And I've yet to do this inside. So I will share that with you. So figure 8 closure. Oops. What else can I tell you? That's about it. I want to now, of course, because this is going to be floating, I want to decorate the back. So I've picked a few labels here, and actually I'll open it right up so that it's easier to attach. Yeah, this was one of those projects that really, once I sat down to, I just head down and get into it. It's funny, really funny the way the way it works. Okay, now these are bits that I've stamped onto old book page, and this is from the same Tim Holtz set. So I was thinking that here, this is one of my labels. I've got this, this. I was thinking something like that. And that leaves me a couple more, and I'm thinking one down here and maybe one across here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. And I will come back. I'm going to use my clag glue. I will come back when they're all stuck down. Okay, so the back is decorated. I've just used labels. I haven't done any stamping on the back except for a bit of splatter. So that's the back. Now I've flipped it round and I want to add a couple of pockets. One at the top, one at the bottom flap. Now, bearing in mind that these will be a bit, a bit difficult. Once you open them, things are going to fall out. I thought I'd just do this very small pocket here. And maybe, let's have a look. Let's just see if it's big enough to add a couple of tickets. Yep. So that's what I think will go in there. So I'll leave those out. And I thought I'd decorate the pocket with more of the Viber Vintage papers, scraps, and from the Fussy Cut. And just simple, couple of bits to add. I mean, the pages are pretty well decorated anyway. It's true, and I've inked them, so they're all set up, ready to just glue down. And I've rounded opposite corners, one to fit this rounded corner, and one because I'm thinking of just inking along two sides. And I'll use art glitter glue for that. Should do it. There we go. These have been inked, I think. Just double check. There we go. And then I also wanted to do something here, and this has got the twine attached. So what I thought was I've cut a piece of the design paper, and this was a piece that I printed and made a mistake on. One side is the right way round, the other side is upside down. So I'm using it for odds and ends. So it's been double printed, but as I say, one side's the right side, the other's the wrong way. But I'm thinking, use this as a little journal card. There's still a little bit of space to write there. And that's going to fit here. And I've trimmed a piece to make a pocket that sits up close to this edge, but doesn't interfere with this area here. And hopefully, if I've got this right, yeah, it'll have to have very little glue around the edge so that my piece sits in there. So I'll glue that now. So I'll use this. Just being very careful to get it right on the edge, because it will be a tight fit. There we go. Now I've got a couple of pieces to decorate this, and I didn't want to go too crazy. They're more, this one has been back to card, this one is purely copy paper. So we'll glue this down. Okay. Now top or bottom? I think we'll go the top. And because this one's on card, I'll use the art glitter glue. It's not really card, it's heavyweight craft. So that fits just there. Okay, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this should. Okay, so there we are, that pocket is done, and I took a piece off the end of this card just to make it a little bit easier to get in and out. Still a bit of a struggle, but I think once that glue is properly dry, it'll be a lot easier. Okay, so now for inside, just close all this up. For inside, I thought what I would do is cut some papers and I want to put them, I've got some piano roll in there and it doesn't want to, I just thought I'd use one piece and it's curling up a bit because mine is on a roll. So yeah, I've got a few papers that I want to sit in this little folder and I've measured them to fit just inside the folder. So I started with, for this, I've used a single-sided piece of the design paper and that measures 7 3/4. And what I did was I scored it, one score at 1 3/4. Yeah, 1 3/4, and then I scored it again at 1/8, just to give that little gusset, if you like. So that the papers sit under there quite comfortably. I could have put more papers in, but I didn't want to make it too fat, you know, too thick. And I think that this will sit in there quite well without causing any problems. Let's just have a look. Yeah, I mean the buttons hold everything up, but other than that, that works quite well. So what I plan to do, I've cut it, rounded the corners and inked it all. And what I want to do is I want to leave this at the moment, I'm thinking, and attach my papers using a couple of staples to the very top. Now, in order to do that, I very luckily have a long-armed stapler. I'm just lining this up with the bottom of the page, the cover, if you like. Okay, so line the papers up. Bring in the long-armed stapler. And I just want a couple of staples. So I'll go in about 1/4 inch and staple. And then at the other end, the same, in about 1/4 inch. Just a couple of pieces. All been inked. Okay. Okay, I just want something to finish this off. And to hold this down. Just a little paper clip. But I'm going to add some twine. Just pop that on the side. There. Okay, I'm not going to attach that to the back page. I'm just going to leave it sitting in there. I think that's good enough. So there you have it. We've got our pockets here with a tag. I'm going to have fun putting that back in. It does go in. It just... So here we are, just about finished. Paper pad with some journaling paper. Sits on the back here. We've just added a little paper clip at the side just to hold this piece down. Because basically, if you wanted to, you could take that off and use it further through the journal. Here we've got a pocket with a pull-out tab. And down here, another pocket with two tickets. They just slot in there. And then this folds over. Actually, let's do it this way. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So that holds everything nicely in there. On this side, got the swing out tag. This little piece just holds it in place. Some stamping. Over here, we've got labels, bits and bobs, fussy cuts, stamping. These fold over like so. This wraps around and hooks around the button. Okay, and that will fit into, where is it? Ooh. This is going to fit in or onto the first or last page of volume 2 of the Everyday Journal. Okay, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to work it. If I put it on the back page, I might do a like a belly band, but a fabric one that goes all the way around, so it just slips in and out. But we'll see. For now, the covers aren't attached anyway, so I'll just keep it all together. Okay, onwards. Thank you so much for calling past today. This project spread over a couple of days, so I will list it as such. Time to move on and get on with some more bits. Okay, thanks so much. Bye.